What's up, everybody? It's Keyz, and welcome to another episode of On the Mic. And on today, we have a gentleman with us who is a animated great engineer. He is the co-owner also of Quality Touch Studios in La Plata, Maryland. He's a member of the Audio Engineering Society, AES, for those who do not know. He's on the Grammy committee for the Washington, D.C. chapter. He's worked with a lot of great artists such as James Worthy, Brian Fresco, a lot more. You can check him out, but he is a wealth of knowledge. He is somebody who can bring a lot of value to the community for all of those who are interested in music and engineering, in just that whole world of people. He is somebody who you want to speak to, who you want to talk to. So that's what we are going to do today. I bring to the stage none other than William Bowser.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
So before we get started real quick, can you let people...
I love the intro too. Love the intro. I appreciate it.
I try to nail it. I try to nail the intros. So before we get started in questions and stuff, can you just let the people know who you are, really, what you do, what services you offer, kind of where your head is at, just who is William Bowser?
All right. So in a nutshell, let's see. William Bowser. I am a voting member of the Recording Academy. I am the vice chair for the Audio Engineering Society for the DC, Maryland, Virginia chapter. And for the most part, I look at myself as more or less the person that I am the average everyday guy who loved music, who didn't go to school and did the online thing and rose to where I am now. That is who I am and like what I've become. So it's like I feel like I'm still kind of in. It's like I've rose out of the trenches more or less. You know what I mean? Like that. There those, like, you know, the metaphorical trenches that all younger engineers and producers feel like they're in before they kind of make it to a place where, okay, I'm starting to work with people with a name and numbers are looking really good, and you know you're moving, and that's the big thing. You know what I mean? Of course, look, you know, this is gonna be one of those interesting interviews, man. Look, because my kids are all active right now, so they're like, Dad, like peeping in, doors opening up and closing and whatnot. So look, this is why I prepared for this. So here we go. There we go. Get this on a move. So let me lock that door. All right. I told you this is gonna be such an animated like little video, but for the most part, services wise, I'm primarily a mixing engineer. I run a recording studio, Quality Touch Studios. And we also have two rooms. So we have currently, this is our A room, which is our main recording studio. And then we have our B room, which is our multimedia studio. So, you know, you can do film editing, picture editing, podcasting in there. We have a nice mic selection for our A room. So more or less any vocal we can accommodate it. You know, we drum, cab miking, literally we can record whatever you need. And then on top of that, I also offer artists education. So my main thing that's helped me go from being independent to more of an industry mainstream kind of individual, just as far as working in our industry, has been my education part. So when it comes to that, you have two different kinds of education. You have, okay, I went to school, I got this knowledge because I paid for this degree, yada, yada, yada. I did it the way the world expects you to do it when you do it by yourself. So I asked questions, I read books, I read articles, I made sure that the things that I was getting knowledge-wise was coming from both knowledgeable and experienced people. And on top of that, I guinea pigged myself. You know what I mean? Like, I put out records. I made sure that the things that I was doing were made to work. You know what I mean? Like, simple. So there was no way for me to not get things done right. Simple. It's like I don't want to be like, oh yeah, and this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're supposed to do, and this, and this, and then tell that information to somebody and not be the, the person that's been like, oh yeah, well, I don't know if that's gonna work or not, but it's what I read.
Yeah.
which there's a lot of people online that do that. You know what I mean? You gotta have hands-on experience. Like I'll tell a producer or I'll tell an engineer all the time, like, yo, be like DJ Khaled, like go make a beat, go find an artist that you like. It doesn't have to be the greatest beat in the world, but you need to go through the process of distribution. You need to see the trials and tribulations, the pitfalls and the successes. You need to know those things, because not knowing it will leave you susceptible to people telling you anything. And because it sounds good, you believe it. You know what I mean? Now I'm aware of the top 17 distribution platforms in America. I know how to register a record for Nielsen. I know how to register on a BDS. I know how to make sure that everything on Sound Exchange is taken care of. I can tell an engineer, hey, did you work on this record and do this, this, and this? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, cool, go get your letter of direction. I can tell them where to go. You know what I mean? I've acquired the entire list. Every quarter, I get the list for all radio stations, both terrestrial and online, because they pay more money. It's the knowing is just as important as the doing. And they have to go hand in hand, because if they don't go hand in hand, you always miss the opportunity of knowing when something works versus when something is just being the thing there.
Wow. So you just did a lot. You just said a whole lot, and you kind of answered like a lot of questions that I was going to ask you, but it's all good. So let me ask you this. What made you get into becoming an engineer, opening up your own studio? We all have our different paths that kind of led us there, but there's many different jobs in kind of the audio community. But what pushed you towards like, I'm gonna be an engineer, and I'm going to open up my own studio? What pushed you down that lane?
Basically, I was an artist first. And so for me, it was, okay, let's go to the studio. And I'd go to the studio and I'd see stuff and I learned stuff. And I was very, very, very intrigued, because the technical aspect of it is actually technical. You know what I mean? So like, it's like, okay, let's do this. Let's do that. Hey, how does this work? And then once you find out how something works, you put it into action. And it's like watching a 32 channel, 48 channel board in action, moving around, and knowing that this is what my stuff goes through to make moves is amazing. Once I kind of like fell into that, I was like, cool, I can go to the studio and I can record myself, which, most artists are doing now today anyway. But when I was doing it, it was like fairly new. Everyone was like, oh, you're not going to the studio. Please, it's not going to be good. I was recording at my mom's house with a Radio Shack mic on her compact Presario, not even using studio software. I didn't get my first studio software probably for like a year and a half after I graduated high school. So I was using you remember the little disc burning software? It was called Record.
Yes, sir.
It had a little button on it it was a record button. And so what I would do is I would use her dual cassette and CD player, play the music like that, turn it up loud enough when she go to work, have people come over and charge them. And then what I would do is I'd plug the Radio Shack mic into the compact Presario and hit that record button. And I'd have everybody doing like one takes to knock it out.
That's so funny. I remember early on, my brother and I at my grandma's house, we would we were messing around with I forget what software came with the computer, but like a recorder software. And then we unknowingly found out that you could turn headphones into a microphone. So because we plugged it in the wrong jack, and then all of a sudden we're like, yo, this is a mic. And we literally just started recording like that.
And it's like that opened the door. That opened the doorway. So once I kind of walked through that, it just became, I need to find out how this works. And I just started absorbing knowledge extremely rapidly. And then years went by, and I'm the kind of person where getting knowledge is not hard for me. I absorb knowledge no matter how you deliver it to me. There is no, oh, this is easier way for me. It's all knowledge to me. So I'm like, I bet. I got to a point where I was really, really good. And a lot of people knew me in my area, and like at least a good 50, 60 mile radius. I was really good. But the problem was I had no basic knowledge. So then into the internet. And all these young engineers that really don't have a name, more or less, are doing school, like, little online classes and stuff like that. So I just paid my little $60. I took I think it was Joe. I think his name Joe Gilbert. I think he's like a Personas rep now. But no, Joe Gilder. I took his class.
Yeah.
It was a 13-week course. I was literally one of the first people to take the course, and it taught me all the basics.
Shout out to Joe. I interviewed Joe early
facts.
on. Shout out to Joe.
I don't think he realizes how influential on my career he's actually been, which is crazy because of me taking that class and learning the basics opened up my mind to. It's like the part that taught me about why quality pieces or quality starting out with high quality can get you to where you're trying to go to faster. You know what I mean? So it's like right now we're in the home studio phase right now. So everybody's like, oh, you can do it from home and you can do it for cheap and do it for this. But there's as we've recognized, kind of there's a price point barrier. And it doesn't have to be extremely expensive, but there is a price point barrier where you have to pay for certain things because there's a quality to them that you're trying to get. And the sooner you recognize, okay, this is a quality thing, I should have something like this, and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. It's like the line. You know what I'm saying? Like our industry, and the average person doesn't recognize this. So here's a good example. All the records that come out in our industry do not sound alike as far as quality goes. There is a baseline quality standard. You either meet that baseline quality standard or you supersede it. And that's how records sound different in our industry, both in feel and delivery. So when it comes to something like that, I look at it by the same way when it comes to recording. There's a quality standard that everyone hears off the break. No matter what, no matter where you go, no matter what studio you go to, it's all determined by a quality standard. If you can meet that quality standard or supersede it, you win. You win. You're in the club. Welcome to the club. But the problem is the things that come with that quality standard. So it's like hearing. You have to get taught how to hear this quality standard because everybody's not taught how to use their ears to hear a certain kind of way. People use their ears as just their normal, average, everyday. It's one of the senses that we use. But in our industry, your ears are one of the most important things because your ears not only help you make money, they are the determining factor for the things that we put out. Both the decision making of something that sounds good by representation or bad by the same representation. You see what I'm saying? And that's the thing. That's something you learn. So it's like imagine being like the assistant for like Stevie Wonder for 20 years. You see what I'm saying? You hear differently because he hears differently, and you are an offshoot of his tutelage. So these things are important because he's giving you a baseline. This is my standard of quality because this is where we've superseded or met to that the world knows me for.
So let me ask you a question right there because you're saying something good. So to the person that is new or trying to become better as an engineer, how do they learn to hear the way that they're supposed to hear to achieve that quality that you're talking about? Because like you said, it's how do you know to train yourself to do something that you've never done before? There you go.
If you are, when it comes to recording, so here's the thing. When it comes to recording, go online and find good stems. Simple. It's that simple. Go find the stems. It could be for famous people. They could be for not famous people. Find those stems and then listen to what the finished products sound like. Here's the reality. The internet is in full swing right now. You can literally find anything you want, whether you have to pay for it or it's free. You can find celebrity, famous artists' stems for their records online. at the actual stems. You can find them for Beyonce, you can find them for Rihanna, you can find them for Jay, you can find them for Tool, you can find them for Nine Inch Nails, you can find them for what was it, Dave Blunt, you can find them for anybody, like seriously. And that's the thing. Because you can find them for anybody, you need to know when, okay, I need to analyze this and see what was done. And then if you're a mixing engineer, use reference tracks. just reference to what you're working on. It doesn't have to sound the exact same, but it has to sound similar, because the reality is this is what radio is looking for. Radio don't just throw songs on there and say good luck. There's a track list and a playlist put together, so that way it keeps the energy of the segment with what's going on at the time frame. Keep it up here. So if they're like, all right, we're playing the top 20 at 5, and it's that high energy top 20 at 5. They're not playing slow jams at 5 o'clock in the afternoon when everyone's trying to get home. You're trying to rock out and go home. Like that's the thing. But there's a sound to that. There's a style to that. There's a vibe that if you don't get that, I can't put you on this playlist, because you're like, yeah, I think my record can do it. Your record's not going to do it because it's missing that core.
You said something very, very good. I don't want that to go over some people's heads, because when it comes to trying to achieve great music now, and we do the YouTube thing, and you look up every tutorial under the sun, and when people are telling you what they're doing, or they're showing you basically how to just do what they did, which always doesn't mean that it's right for you, but what happens is you don't quite really get a chance to hear the beginning product. Really what it is like, hey, let me show you what plugins I used, or let me just show you what I did. But you pointed out how it's most important to listen to what it sounded like at the very beginning, get the stems, then listen to what they actually did with them. And that helps you draw the comparison between the two, because oftentimes you can model somebody, to a T, and your song will not come out anywhere close to the way that the person you're modeling song came out, because you don't understand what it sounded like at the very beginning. And the thing that you pointed out with Joe, and in my career as well, as I'm learning now, the more and more you do this, the more and more you realize and you recognize how important it is to get things as correct as you can get them at the source. Of course, you can edit everything. You can do whatever you want. You can pitch correct every single note. You can throw every plugin. Shoot, you get a new, M1, Mac, you know what I'm saying? You can throw every plugin on every single channel for every single thing if you want. But the quality actually comes from, can we get it to the end at the beginning, and then every step from there, can we get it to the end from here, and can we get it from the end from here, and then you're just adding quality on that gets you to their level. So that was very good. I did not want people to overlook that, because it's like the biggest thing in the world. If you make one record that you think is good, then all of a sudden you teach everybody else how to make your good record. And then
nobody tells. Okay, so when it comes to these tutorials, right? And I hold some of my mentors to this too, that do like tutorials and videos. I always tell them about this too, and they're like, well, no one really asks about it. And I'm like, but that's not how it works. So this is what I always tell people. It is the sum of the whole that is making you interested in what you're looking at right now. So I'll explain that. If I'm online and I'm looking for, I don't know, let's say I'm looking for a tutorial on compression, and I see one of the great online guys or engineers, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to show you how I did compression in this in this song from on this Beyonce record, right? I watched that video. Me myself, I'm watching it for what plugin is used and the technique and the applied application. So it's like watching it, I'll watch and see what's getting turned, but at the same time, I look at the chain of where everything is going and how it's getting affected on everything else. Why? Because everything else still matters. What's the delay that's being used? What's the reverb getting used? How much EQ was done on a whole different channel or bus that's getting used? You know why? Because when I look at those things, it makes more sense because again, it's the sum of everything plus this compressor that's making this vocal sound really, really good. But when I was younger, I'm thinking, oh my God, if I get this compressor, yo, it's gonna sound fire. But that's because again, when I'm younger, no one taught me it's kind of like it's like the sleight of hand. Yes, it's not the person's fault that's doing the video to or it's not their responsibility to say, hey, this is everything I had in the chain, and then I had this compressor here. They don't have to do that because the video is about just the compressor. But the reality is you're selling a product. Whether you like it or not, you're selling a product when you talk about this particular plugin. And because you're now selling a product, the average person that, again, they're young and in their engineering walk, or even they might not be so young, they might be like 5 to 10 years in, they hear this product and they go, wow, that sounded really, really good because it did this and it brought out this and this. But there are the steps before that got everything to this point. You know what I mean? The room that I mix in matters. You know what I mean? The mic that was used during the recording, all this matters. Like all this gear that we be spending money on, nobody wants to spend the cost of a house on gear. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to do that. But the reality is there's a sound that, again, we've all accepted and we all realize I'm trying to get to that now. So when I do sit down to mix, it's a cakewalk. I can do what I want. I can sit down to actually mix. Hell, I take a day off before I mix a record just to edit the record. I'll spend the whole day just editing records, getting rid of every pop, every click, turning the breaths down to at least a consistency where it's not all like, where they sound like they're gasping for air, because that happens. You know what I'm saying? Like fading ins and outs on things, making sure that we have all the sounds that they sound similar or straight. EQing little things here and there so that way I know it won't become a problem later on. Those are the things that big professional engineers, or just even us at the mid tier to higher tier, this is what we do because my name is on this record. You know what I mean? It matters. The whole matters. I know it's going to mastering. That mastering engineer, all this that I'm doing here, he appreciates this, just like how I appreciate the recording engineer. You know what I mean? These things all matter.
This is good. You're providing a lot of value, and that's like I don't want to kind of rush this at all.
Oh no, I don't care.
Because you're making some very good points that some people just aren't talking about. It's how important it is to understand fundamental aspects of music and mixing particularly, but in music in general, getting it right at the source, actually having an understanding of the level you're trying to get to. A hard question to ask sometimes is, hey, how do I know when a song is done? That's something that you kind of have to figure out somewhat, have a notion of, an idea, an area to where it can land as you're doing it. You know,
I have a simple but it's complicated answer. It only gets complicated the longer you stay in this business, but it's a very simple answer. My simple answer for when is a song done is when your gut feeling of I should have did that doesn't exist. So you know, and everyone, anyone that's been in this industry understands that gut feeling.
Oh, man,
you hear a song, and it gets to there's a part, and it's a nag, like damn, I should have put that delay on there. I should have just put that delay on there, and that It is that gut feeling that I ignored for so long when I was younger that I no longer ignore and has helped me in my career. Because now I'm like, yeah. You know why? Because the worst thing an artist can say is, I don't like it, and I'll mute it. The next worst thing an artist can say is, it's too loud, and I can turn it down. But after that, it's all roses now, because you know what they're gonna say? Oh, I like that. Or they're not gonna say anything, and they're just gonna let it ride. And that is how you know a song is done. It feels good. It sounds good. Hell, there are a lot of songs that don't even sound that good, but they feel good. And you're like, yeah. And you're like, yeah, okay. I look, technically, but you know what? I could rock with this. And we're gonna send this off to mastering. And the mastering engineer is probably gonna get it and be like, oh, this sounds bad. But you know what? It's my job to make sure that it sounds as good as it possibly can. And out the door. And that's the thing. You kind of, like I said, you got to get to that place where it's the sum of all the parts. Like, it's a team. It's a team effort. Like, look, man, everyone that knows me knows, and this is like my famous analogy. Look, everybody wants to be Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan didn't win them rings by himself. He was, sure, he's the most highlighted. Sure, he everyone's watching him. Sure, there's all the basketball cards and everyone's like talking. He's one of the greatest. But the reality is, Michael Jordan didn't take that last shot. Tony Kukoc did to win the championship. You cannot, for the life of me, you cannot dismiss the actions and abilities of the team that you are surrounded in making one or multiple records. This is how it works.
So let's go there. Let's go there.
Oh yeah, let's go.
The person who's doing it by themselves, who do they need on their team?
You need everybody. First, so I used to be that guy. So I actually can talk from experience. So let's see. For anyone listening to this, get a pen and paper. So number one, go look for an intern. Look for an intern. Get an intern. It doesn't matter where you are in your career. Oh, I just started out. That's fine, but you need a partner. You need someone to carry the load with you, so you're not carrying this load by yourself. Number one. So that off the break relieves stress and tension, because it's a high level stress job. Number one. Number two, become a knowledge sponge. Never, ever, ever think you know it all, because the moment you think you know it all, a new engineer will pop up to show you something that will put you on your ass. And then when you get up off your ass, either you might take too long to get up off your ass to actually grasp what's going on, or you might not recover and get up in the first place. And you don't want to be in that position. I promise, because I've seen plenty of older engineers that talked crazy about auto-tune. And here we are decades later, and auto-tune is on everything. So again, be mindful of not just the environment and the climate, but of what's going on in the technology world and the people around you, because you're not the only one striving to be great. And that's number two. And these are general things, but these are things that people need to hear. Then, of course, number three, always strive to be great. Look, you're not looking for perfection. You're looking for greatness. There's a difference. And that's a vast thing that we all need to take in. It's not about perfection. It's about greatness. Being great does not need perfection. You understand? Because being perfect doesn't ask you for greatness either. And that's the thing. We can want to be perfect on anything. Doesn't mean it's going to be right for the thing that needs to get done at the moment that we're trying to do it. But at the same time, when I'm trying to be great, everything I'm trying to do at this moment is working in the path of being great together. Which also lets you know, when you add other individuals into the party of it, we can be great together. This is what makes up a really great team. That mentality that we share, saying that we can be great together because we all strive for this same greatness, no matter what it is. Then on top of that, when it comes to your team, be a team. You gotta shed your individualism skin sometimes and actually be a team. Ask people what they think. Ask people how they feel. Don't be scared to get harsh criticism and not just either put it here somewhere like set in the midsection of your mind. It ain't got to go to the back of your mind. It ain't got to be on the forefront of your mind. But let it actually sit there, think about it, marinate on it, and actually come up with a plan of action or make a decision about what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Those little things from people you trust can be the very, very big difference in a career that's both stagnant and stale versus a career that's both full of growth and actual potential to be bigger than what you are now. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Those are important things. Let's see what else. If you're in a relationship, make sure that the person that you're in a relationship with knows and loves what you love, because
Period.
they will expect that in return, or they are
Period.
just not for you because they will not understand any of this and not support any of this.
Period.
That goes for both music and anything else in life. If your significant other, look, if your significant other is not by definition significant, they're not built for this.
Right.
Period. That don't try, don't make somebody. It has to be something that a person willingly says, I am going to go along with you with this on this journey because I see potential in you, or I see where you are in it, and I support that. And that's a big thing when it comes to a team, because it'll be the outside forces that'll tear a team apart versus the team itself falling apart. You see what I'm saying? An actual team will only fall apart if the individuals on the team let it happen. You see what I'm saying? But outside forces will always try to take from the team at all times because we all live a life. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, again, when we talk about our industry, make sure the recordings are dope. If you don't want to record, then make sure you have a great recording engineer. If you don't want to mix, make sure you know a great mixing engineer. Look, do I know how to master a record? Yes, I do. Do I like mastering records? No, I don't. But I know all the great mastering engineers in the world. And you know what? I gladly have a client go pay them, because there's nothing better. There's no better feeling than me telling a client, well, I can get you the mastering engineer that just mastered Drake's album. Is that what you want? Yeah, that's what I want. Yeah, I really want that. Okay, here you go. Here's his price. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You know why? Because a lot of people just did it themselves. But you said you want the best. And you know what? Here you go. And then the funny thing is, the best don't even cost that much when it comes to being an independent artist. That's the funny thing about it. They don't cost that much. Not to relative scale to a signed artist when they're working with a signed artist. We're talking hundreds of dollars versus thousands of dollars. And most people don't know that because they're scared of hearing the price. Once you've kind of gotten over that hump of, oh, Lord, it's going to cost me this. What are you scared of now? You're paying for quality. So because you're paying for quality, you're going to get what you paid for. And if you don't get what you paid for, you've spent the money to demand to get it the way you want it. You know what I'm saying? This isn't Burger King. That's all. It's not Burger King. It's not you can have it your way. No. Of course you can have all these things and off on and blah blah blah. This is a 5-star restaurant that you're going to pay $1,000 at tonight, and that $1,000 is going to get you what you want. You're getting the experience. You're getting your taste buds, and you're getting everything around you tantalated. Your senses are being entertained. You are paying for quality, and this is where the line between professional and amateur. This is where the line really gets drawn. It's not in sound quality, because anybody could be the next big mixing engineer, but it don't matter if where the prices meet, you're not willing to jump that line. You know what I'm saying? And that plays very big into the team aspect, because I can't just be the only individual saying I'm willing to spend that money. My team has to know what it costs to play in the game. That's the thing. It costs to play in this game, which means if I pay the entrance fee, I'm in here. It is a good chance I'm in here for life. On a one time, I'm in it. But it's no different than if me and you are in a car group. You know what I'm saying? The reality is cars cost a lot of money to be on a car group. Like, look, I know people right now that are dirt poor, but they got 3 cars in their lawn that stay immaculate. You know what I'm saying? They stay immaculate. And guess what? They'll spend them thousands and tens of thousands of dollars. They can get their whole house remodeled off the money they spent on these cars. And you know what they decided to do? Nah, my whips are more important. And that's how I look at being in this industry, in our business. Hey, my life, I'll take and make sure that I take care of my life. But the business side, The thing that brings me the happiness and the joy, hey, look, I gotta spend it to play. I gotta spend it to play in the game. You got to, because when you do, you realize who it opens the doors up to, who you meet. Because you know why? Because everybody at the top spent it playing the game. That's the thing. You start meeting the big shots and they start going, oh, that's fine. You know, I got one of those too. Does this happen when you use yours? Yeah. And here you are now in a picture in Mix Magazine with your favorite engineer because you're talking about this, and this. You see what I'm saying? And now more people hit you up for the job. You know why? Because they realize that you're here to do the job. You're not just playing around to do the job. You're actually here to do the job. You see what I'm saying? Trust in, if you trust in your actual team and the things that your team tells you, the aspects that build your team up, both financially, mentally, physically, spiritually, all these things that we all partake in individually. If you do it in a team group aspect, it's no different than the training of a basketball team. So when we get on the court, we're ready for everything. You go to a convention, me and my team already got the plan. I go to a club, me and the team already got the plan. Me in the studio, got the plan. New producers, new writers, engineers, shoot, label, it doesn't matter. We have a game plan, we execute the plan. I'm trying to bring home a ring. Simple. That's it. Trying to bring home a ring.
You saying some really good stuff. Let me ask you this. Let me just ask you this little question. You work with a lot of artists. You have a studio. So it's not just like you are working with the material, you're working with the people as well behind the material. So let me ask you, what is one of your pet peeves when it comes to artists? I usually ask engineers this question and producers this question. Is really interesting. But what's some of your pet peeves that you just kind of like, that grinds your gears, that you just like, I wish they want to do that? What's some of your pet peeves that you have when it comes to working with artists?
All the time, the number one, people that don't practice before they get here.
Oh, man.
That is my number one. It will probably always be my number one all time. Practice. Be prepared. Look, man, I'm a stoutly religious person and spiritual person. Hey, look, if I'm gonna tell you one Bible verse, I'll tell you this one. Be a good steward of your time. Be a good steward of your time, because, man, you don't realize how little time you have to be the great that you want to be until you realize how much time you've wasted. And that's the thing I try to get across both young and older artists. Do not sit there going, should I, could I, would I? Do it. And if you're going to do it right. And there are too many examples in the world of doing it right to make sure you don't do it wrong. And that is what gets me so pissed, because I will literally hear an artist do this. And I got to the point now where it's like, okay, this isn't even a conversation anymore. You know what? I'm going to have argument points with an artist that you can't argue back. So when someone comes in here unprepared and they're like, yeah, man, I'm going to do this. Hey, man, who's your favorite artist? Oh, man, I love Lil Baby. You think Lil Baby does this in the studio? you think when quality control tells him we need to get a new single, you got a week? You think Lil Baby does this a week? Oh, man, nah, man. I mean, nah. So let me get this straight. If you ran into Lil Baby right now and he asked you for a record, is this what you're going to give? Ah, man, nah, man. Then why are you doing this thing? Think about it. Why are you doing this? If a Rock Nation rep came down here right now and they were like, what you working on? You think that I'm going to show them this? What do you think? Would you show them this? Nah, I wouldn't show them this. Exactly. And it goes to the next part. See, this is what happens when you stay ready. When you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. So you could be in here right now messing around, but if a Rock Nation rep says, they'll show me something that the young boy got. Oh, yeah, sure. I got a whole folder full of records that you done killed already. You play around when you can play around, not just because you can play around. Okay? Allen Iverson wasn't always Allen Iverson when he was playing basketball in some park. But when you step on the court, you come here to work. And if you don't have that mentality, then how do you expect to win? That's it. That is how I now move. I now go, cool. If you've decided that today was the day that you didn't feel like being professional, you are in the wrong place. So let me remind you where you are. because that's my job. That's my job, whether anyone likes it or not. If you come into a studio, so it's 2021, 2022, right? This is our new year. In 2022, no different than the last 20, 30 years. If you came into a studio as an independent artist with a beat, with no producer, I am now the producer for you. That's the reality of it. And I don't care who you are and what you've done, because the reality is you've come here to get work done. I've come here to make sure a product gets put out that I can shake my head and say, I was part of that. So we both can walk out here proud. I'm not, just like I don't want you walking out of here with something that sounds like trash. I'm not putting out anything that sounds like trash. So I don't care if you pay for 5, 6, 10 hours and we only got 3 records done. Those 3 records are fire, though. Those 3 records are fire. You could be like, man, I was going to do like 20 records today. No, you're not. No, you're not. The label's going to go, how many records did you get done? I got 3. What? 3? Let me hear what those things sound like. Damn. Okay. And they'll give you more money to do it again. They're going to let you do it again. You know why? Because I'd rather you walk out with 3 great records than a whole bunch of mediocre. Who's that circle? Who? Look, if you want McDonald's, you can go to any spot to get McDonald's. That's it. We can go anywhere to get McDonald's.
Man, you saying like you helping a lot of people and you touching a lot of nerves. Because I tell you, in a heartbeat, man, it's you get that a lot. The individuals who pay for a certain amount of time in the studio and then let you know how many songs we about to get done.
It'll never work out that way. Look, when I was younger, you're right. He was like, yeah, let's just move on. Let's move on. By the time I realized what this artist's intention is, there's a me as who I am in this industry, and then there's the engineer. The engineer just gonna press the buttons and do my job because that's what you paid me for. But the me won't let me do that.
You know, you helping me out. You helping me out. I gotta say this. You helping me out because to some people, you know, this where we sit in the chair that we sit in, we're hired to do a service. And it's a balance to find out, okay, I'm doing what you asked, but no, you can't do that. You know what I mean? As far as quality goes, your name being on it, it being their record, this is what they want. You know, you helping me out a lot because sometimes, honestly, transparent here, y'all. Sometimes it gets to the point to where it's like, you know what? If this is what you want, this is what you want. If you say thunder and I say lightning, and I for sure know it's lightning, but you want thunder, you gonna get thunder because
Now that's the thing. I'm not saying be hard with the artist and argue. It's one of those things where it's a harsh lesson. So this is me showing tough love because again, I'm doing what I love. So I have to be tough on it because before I got here where I am now, someone was tough on me. You know what I'm saying? And I learned to not take it personal because I'm trying to be great. Like again, I always relate this back to basketball because it's just relatable. Michael Jordan was a great player when he started playing basketball, but in order for him to be the greatest, you got to train, you got to practice. He still had a coach. Someone had to say, "Nah, you trash. Sit down." Someone has to tell you that to break you down so they can help you build back up because that's how muscle works. That's how muscle works. You want to get stronger, you want to be faster, then you got to get broken down sometimes because guess what? Sometimes it just ain't happening. And you know what? I need a day to get it right. That's it. Just get it right. And guess what? In my experience, if my experience is saying, nah, this ain't going to work. If the fact that I do more records than the artist I'm working with does in their entire career, I've done it in this week.
Right.
Hey, man, I'm telling
That's a
you,
fact.
that's not going to work. You know why? Because such and such from Atlantic was just here and did something very similar. And that sounded fire. And yes, I don't want you to sound just like them, but there's a lane. There's a lane. And you need to make sure that your record is in a certain lane because this is the move right now. Now, that does not mean an artist has to sound just like what's going on right now, but it means, hey, you have to achieve with the thing that you're trying to get.
Mm.
And if that means you got to work harder at it, then work harder at it. Does that mean we're going to waste these 5 hours trying to get this one song sounding fire? Well, then let them burn. Let the time burn. It's what you paid for. You paid to have this moment to be great. You paid for it. So let it work. Let it do its job. Let it exist. Because if you rush it, and look, it's like food. You pull the food too soon out the oven, it tastes bad.
Mm.
You gotta cook. You gotta cook. Ain't none of this. Again, if you want McDonald's, then go to McDonald's. Here, look, I'll hit the record button. We'll just run through it. You're going, hey, how it sound? Sound good enough, man. That's what no artist wants to hear that. No artist wants to hear, oh, it sound good enough.
It was cool.
You know what I'm saying? Because they know those are their key words that they know because they've been in other studios. They know. Oh man, okay. And their whole demeanor changes. You go from here to okay. Because they know. And guess what? I can't be that. You pay for this. I'm here to deliver this.
Yeah.
So today I'm gonna take you from here and we're gonna pull you up to this. And if when you leave out of here, you're either gonna stay up here or you're gonna go back down to here. That's fine. But while you're here though, this is what the standard is while you're here.
Mm.
That's it. And I'm not taking no for an answer. Now, have I had hard-headed artists? Of course I have. They want to do it their way. Then ask me how it sounds. Nah. What'd you think, man? Nah, man, but if that's what you want, man, I can't look. Well, man, why? Well, why? And then I explain it. Okay, well, look, today I just want to go ahead and just knock it out and see how I feel about it. Okay. A couple of days later, nah, man, you're right, yo. You have to come back and record the whole thing. Hey, man, I told you, yo, but yo, let's get it knocked out when you're ready. That's it. Look, again, I am here to help the boat. That's it. You know what I mean?
Man, you talking really good, man. I appreciate this. And for everybody who's watching and listening, I hope that you are able to glean a little bit of greatness and knowledge from what is being said right now. William, man, I appreciate you. I don't want to draw this out too long for everybody else who wants more of this. We definitely going to do some more of this soon. But let me ask you this. If I ask this question to everybody. If you wanted to be known for one thing, what would you want to be known for?
I want to be known as one of the greatest mixing engineers of all time. Mm-hmm. That is my goal. My ultimate goal is to win multiple Grammys and show my children that anything is possible if you work hard at it, build the right team around yourself, and that everyone has both their individual paths that you can help them with, but have a team aspect because we all want to achieve the same thing. I really, really, really grew up with the mindset of I don't want to be a failure to my family, friends, and my children, and my wife. Don't want to be a failure. And shout outs to my wife, because without my wife, man, a lot of this would not be possible. She gives me the motivation to really, really, really be the great thing that I am and the thing that I'm becoming. So that's what I want to be known for. And I know ultimately in life, I know for a fact that when it's all said and done, a lot of folks are going to know me for things like this. Like I share knowledge and I share freely. I don't cultivate knowledge and keep it to myself and just share it amongst my team. I very, very much share knowledge in a very open forum kind of fashion. Now, I'm a parent So I treat knowledge sharing like how a parent does.
Mm.
I'm gonna tell you but so many times, and after that, you gonna do it on your own. I've adopted that. But at the same time, no, I'm 100% cool with that. If an artist says, "Have I done everything that I can for a release?" and I see they haven't, no, but it's because this is what you need to do.
Mm.
I'm very big on let's do the work. I'll tell you the knowledge. I'll tell you what you need to do. I'll point you in the right direction. I'll even, hey, these are the people you need to go talk to real quick to go get this done. I trust them and they actually do the job. If you pay the money, you'll get what you paid for. I'm all for that because when I was growing up, we all seen the sharks. You know what I'm saying? We all seen the snakes. We've seen the people that did wrong and hurt people and took their money. I want to be one of those beacons of light where people see me and go, he knows what he's talking about. He does what he's talking about. You can trust what he tells you because he's done it himself. And he's not trying to waste your time or money. You know what I mean? Like that I know that's ultimately what I'm going to ultimately be known for in the circles of people that actually know me. But my career wise, I'm trying to be one of the greatest.
Man, that's a good answer. That's a good answer, man. And we all hope, and we got it on video, so we all gonna hold you accountable to make sure that you get there as well. And just to wrap this thing up real quick, William, let me ask you, where can people find you if they want to find you online, if they want to come to the studio? Where do they go? What do they do? How can people get in contact with you?
So this is dope because I think I'm one of 2 William Bowsers in the entire music industry.
Huh?
So God had a plan for me from the jump. But basically I'm everywhere. If you type in Quality Touch Studios on Google, we are literally one of the top, and I run a project studio, but we are literally one of the top 5 recording studios in a 70-mile radius in the state of Maryland. I have over 40 plus reviews on Google, so I'm highly rated. I've gotten more than a couple of hundred projects and records that I've worked on over my, this year will be 20-year career. You can find me on all social media, so definitely just look up William Bowser and I pop up. If you don't see my face, you'll see me in the studio. I travel all over the country. Again, you can find me anywhere. So on Facebook is William Bowser. I think it's William Bowser _QTS. I think it's the same thing on Instagram. Twitter is Ill Soul Prod. Literally, I'm literally everywhere. Like it's weird to say that. It's very weird to say that though.
And to help you out on Instagram is William _Bowser _QTS.
Yeah. Let's see. And of course, how can I forget? We have a website. So on our website, the website has everything. So you can literally go to qualitytouchstudios.com. And you can see myself, my team. You can get our stories. You literally can contact me any old way. All of my information is online, so you can contact me anytime, anywhere. I literally hit people back all the time. I'm constantly. It is probably the best and worst thing about me. So says my wife. So, so I'm always hitting people up. Again, and that's the cool thing too. You can ask me anything. I try to be real and upfront with everybody. I try to let everyone know exactly what time it is when you need me. You know what I mean? So,
man, well, listen, I appreciate you. Everything that you said, all the links is going to be in the description below in this video. If you want to find William, if you want to visit, reach out to Quality Touch Studios.
Let me do a quick shout out.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm also the brand ambassador for a Black-owned, Black manufactured, Black sold monitor speaker company by the SAS Acoustics Design firm. The monitors are the SA25Ms. I want everyone to know this. So as a thing that happened here in the last 30 days, the studio down in Atlanta, I will be mixing in Atmos. Dolby came down there and said, this is probably one of the best Atmos rooms that they've ever been in. Universal Music Group, both the vice president and head of their immersive audio said, and I quote, "This is the best sounding Atmos room they've ever heard out of all the Atmos rooms in the world that they've been in and that they own." So this year, y'all are about to see a lot of craziness, especially that involves me and some of your favorite artists. So you will definitely be seeing me get very, very close to winning that Grammy this year.
Wow. Well, that's awesome to hear. Shout out to Raphael Capone, SAS
yes, sir.
Acoustic Firm. If y'all have not seen his iconic SA25Ms, go check them out. It's an amazing monitor that I am planning on getting and experiencing. William kind of
let me know. I got you.
William kind of put me on them early, and when I reached out, I kind of didn't expect the price to match the quality. So I didn't get them yet, but I'm going to.
Oh man, they had a sale. They had a sale too. They were half off this whole month of December. It was nuts. He was like, "We're all out." I said, "What?"
Yeah, but definitely shout out to SAS Acoustic Firm. Please check them out. Instagram. You can go check them out. See their monitors, all the setups, Adobe Atmos setup that they do have. So yeah. So before we leave, is there any last words of encouragement that you want to leave the people with? Anything that can help them in their journey? Anything that's on your heart or your mind you just want to say?
Let's see. Words of encouragement. Don't be scared to say that you're mediocre. Be scared when mediocre is all that you strive to be. People came for greatness. Give them what they came to see. There you go. And I just made that up on the spot for you.
Yeah, people are coming to you for greatness, so give them their money's worth. That's again, right. I go by the name of Keef. Keyz, thank you for listening to this episode of On the Mic. When you get a chance, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, share this to your mama and your grandmama and all your friends. Let them know that we're helping the people out in the community, and we will see y'all in the next video.